It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm, hearty welcome to one and all present here in this online workshop on business model canvas, jointly organized by Institutions Innovation Council, JC Bose, YMCA Incubation Foundation. I, Srishti, Student Coordinator, IIC, would like to welcome you all on behalf of JC Bose, University of Science and Technology, YMCA family in this online event. It is rightly quoted that startups don't fail because they lack a product. They fail because they lack customers and a profitable business model. The intent of Business Model Canvas is to encourage discussion, investigation, and innovation to help your organization create, evolve, or change your business model. Today, we are honored to have among us Mr. Ajay Sharma, head of JC Bose Technology, Business Incubator, and Startup Mentor. Sir is a business coach and entrepreneur with over 22 years of professional experience in marketing, strategizing, planning, business development, finance, and startup ventures. Sir has an extensive experience of wide range of sectors including banking, information technology, education, real estate, consulting, and government projects. He has worked with companies like ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, FCS Limited, Genpact, DLF Limited, Jindal Group in different leadership roles. He has done his master's in business management, finance, and marketing, and master's in computer science, enable deep understanding of technology and management, along with training in commerce and finance, have helped him creating a 360-degree understanding of business and a lot more to state. Now, I would like to request Mr. Ajay Sharma sir to kindly take over the virtual days and address the audience.
Is my screen visible to each one?
Clearly visible.
Great. Thank you very much for a warm introduction. Uh, I hope I would make this presentation on that topic interesting enough for all our students. So my normal mode of communication would remain in English. If let's say somebody wants me to use English or move between Hindi and English, please let me know. So as Srishti just has said that we are here to talk about business model canvas. Now, I don't want to bore you with the history of and the origin of this thing, but let me put it up front that this is one of the important tools right now because it allows not only a already established corporation or a company, rather every single one of us to understand any business idea or a business enterprise in its totality. Uh, and it is very, very important for students who or the people who wants to become entrepreneur. They want to start their own ideas. Uh, Quite often we have seen that there are many good ideas, but they don't culminate into a commercial viable project. And one of the important cause for that is failing to plan because as it said that failing to plan is plan to fail. So let's all together try and understand what are the nuances of business model canvas and how in our own lives, in our own projects, in our own capacity as let's say management students, tech students, entrepreneurs, startup entrepreneurs, founders, how can we make most of this particular tool? Uh, so now what we'll do is we will see that business model canvas is basically nothing but try and put everything on a single page, uh, to make a very clear idea that what you need to do as an entrepreneur, as a person who wants to start a business, and where you want to go from there. So there are two ways of looking at things. I typically go with this model where we see the business model canvas in two sections. One is regarding the value creation and customers, and second is the cost management activities, the internal part of it. So we would focus on a similar basis. So we have 9 sections on this canvas, wherein we draw different boxes and try and see in each of the boxes what are the major important things what we need to keep in mind before really going for our business, uh, or plan our business and invest in our business for that matter. So these are value proposition, number one; customer segments, number two; channels, customer relationships. And this section, now what we have, these five boxes, would constitute a value side of it, or the customer side of it, or the outside section of it. Now for the rest of it, this is so key resources, key activities, key partners, and the cost structure. So this is the complete uh, business model canvas. You can see now we would look on each one of these sections separately, and we would try understand section by section how we can build. I would really urge, if somebody is there who is thinking of doing a business, and if want to share his or her idea, and we can actually use this business model canvas and give examples from that particular idea or a project, and then we can all help that person to build a proper business model while we do this exercise. So just let me know in the comment section, or open mic to the host or somebody, if somebody has some business idea and you want me to take that example. Otherwise, I'll try and do from business, and I'll try and make it, spice it up to make it slightly less boring, right? We'll try and do that. So when we talk about value proposition, this is the first box we need to understand. Whenever you want to start your business, it is all about the customer. It is all about their problem. It is all about their situation. It is all about their need. So customer is the king. And people quite often make this mistake that they start believing in them and their idea too much, to an extent that they start saying that no, 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 if there is no customer, I can build my product, and the customers would go for and lap for it. No, that never happens. Never ever in the history of business there was a product which does not had any demand. It may be a latent demand, right? But there was a need. So there is a need, there's a problem to be solved, and that is what you need to focus. You cannot say that, oh, I come up with this idea. So let's say, and there are people who come up with ideas. There are friends of mine who keep coming with ideas. There are many students who come to me and discuss their ideas. What happens is they think that whenever they thought of an idea, right? Like I give you a small example. For a example's sake, let's say somebody comes with an idea that I can create sleepers with water filled in it. You understand? I can make shoes or Hawaii chappals where there would be a water filled inside that, right, in the sole. So it would be a water sleeper or something like that, right? Now the idea is very innovative. The idea is very creative. The idea is, on paper sounds like, oh wow, this is a very new product, right? But how many among you, me, and how many people around you would like to buy something like that, or use it on a regular basis? There are so many other issues attached with it. So sometimes we try and think that, okay, now whatever we have created, that's it. No, it is all about from the perspective of the customer. So typically when students come to me and they talk about their ideas, their project, that, sir, we have thought of this. My first question is, who do you want it to buy this? Who you think would buy this? Who you want to sell it? What is that problem you are solving? For whom? Are you solving a problem for yourself? Are you solving a problem, let's say, 5 people in 1 million? Would that be a good proposition for a business in long term? Can you have 5 customers every 1 million people, and then you can make your business? Only if that problem is absolutely genuine. Let's say there's a cure you have created for a ailment. I believe you must have heard listened to that news which was doing rounds last 2 years back. I believe there was a girl who needed an injection of I believe multiple crores, 6 or 7 crore rupee one injection. Right now, everybody would think, okay, how can one injection be that expensive? Now that injection was expensive because only one in a 10 million people, or maybe one in a 20 million or 100 million people get that ailment, right? That get disease. So only a very few customers are there. So somebody who has invested thousands and lakhs and crores of rupees in invest in finding that solution out, he needs to make his money, and that's why the prices are so high. Otherwise, for 99.9999% of the products, it never works out, right? So first thing you need to see, what is the value I am offering to, right? Even let's take, close to our home examples. Whenever you are talking to, let's say, a person, or in any sort of relationships, you typically think, okay, no, I am what I am, right? People need to take me what I am, and whatever I want to do. But turn the table around. Would you really be friends with somebody who can only think of himself or herself? Would you like to be friends with such a person? If you cannot, why would other people would like to be friends with you? What is the value you are adding to their lives? That is when you need to see, right? I hope I'm making it clear, right? Which one of our customers problems we are solving, we are there to solve, we are helping. Are we solving a problem, or are we catering to a need? Right, it can only be a problem which you solve, or a need. Right, a need is a very basic need, like a need to communicate, need to socialize. That's a need to eat, need to drink, need to travel, need to communicate. These are basic needs, and that's why you would see that any company who is actually catering to these needs typically make huge money. Any FMCG company who is catering to this kind of business, any transport, airliners, and whatnot, automotive companies, you talk about mobile phone communication, WhatsApp communication, uh, Facebook, Twitter, your Instagram, the social networking, social communication, business networking, LinkedIn. So if you see that companies who try and address that need part of it, they typically have a much larger market, because need is universal. Most of the needs are universal. It's a basic human needs, right? I believe some of you people must have read about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? So same concept. So if you have different layer of needs, one are your basic needs, roti kapda makan, as they say, right? The food, need for shelter, need for safety, need for drinks, need for clothing, right? Then your next level of needs start coming in, right? The need to socialize, need to connect, need to communicate, need to socially acceptable, all those things. And then obviously then there are different layers, and then you have problem solving things. Let's say I want to create a product which solves calculation for somebody. That's problem solving. That's not a need, but that's a problem solving. There was a need for some of the people who were trying to do that, trying to achieve that, and that's where. So here what you need to focus is there something innovative? Is there a newness into it? Is there performance enhancement from the previous product, whichever is available in the market? Are you able to customize it? Is there a specific address to that particular target segment you are talking to? So what you need to understand, whenever, even if you, as I come back to the personal relationship, even when you talk about trying to approach a person, it is not about, okay, you find somebody attractive and you go and try and get that person. No, it is always about what is the value you are adding to that relationship, right? So you need to add that. You need to figure out before you bring your proposal, what is the preposition you have. When you take a proposal to somebody, you need to have that preposition. What are you offering, right? Are you good looking? Do you have a lot of money? Are you very educated? You have a lot of connections, whatever. Are you successful in life? You are a creative person. How you are a very humane person. You are emotional. You are stable. All those things. You are a confident person. You handle things well. You are funny. You are good to be with. These are nothing but your value proposition. Think of you as a product, right? So whenever you do that, similarly, when you think of companies, the product is exactly the same for a customer. So for this, we need to figure out who is your customer, right? So value proposition, that means what is the value intrinsically you are offering as a proposal to the customer. So then you go to the customer segment. This is section 2 where we would go. Here you need to divide, or rather figure out what is your customer, right? And you need to understand this, as I told you in the previous slide. It's not about you, it's about the customer. So the customer do not exist to buy from you, or for that matter from anybody. You exist for them, right? In any relationship also, you see that when you try and put your fulcrum, your focus on the other person, that, and both people do that, or those relationships, those friendships typically last much longer, right? When both the parties are adding to it, in a sense, thinking about the other person. So you have to think about customer as the other person, right? From his or her angle, you need to see that whether my product, whether service or product, whatever I'm offering, does it uh, address the need of that particular segment, or there is another segment. I've created, let's say, a very good cigar, right? Brilliant cigar, possibly. Which is the market I should try that cigar to? I should go to rural India. I should go to China. I should go to Mexico, Europe, US. Which market would you tell me to go, right? You would all say that, okay, no, 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 go to a market where cigar is acceptable as a mode of, let's say, uh, personal pleasure, right? Then you also need to figure out, let's say you want to create party dresses, right? There's a new business venture you have created, and you deal in creating fashion items for young girls, let's say age between 15 to 25, right? That age group, it's a partying, or let's say 30, 15 to 30 age group, right? So girls and boys who would go to party. You are only focusing on, let's say, girls now, because men do not buy so many party, or boys do not buy so many party wears, right? So then what you are doing, you are essentially creating that segment. While we are talking like this, and we are saying that, okay, boys, girls, this age group, this demographic, this place, this income group, what are we doing? We are segmenting it. We are figuring out what segment of my customer, the total customer, belongs to me, who would buy my product, what is their social upbringing. Similarly, you want to sell party dresses, you would go to and go to a temple and try and selling that. Would somebody buy that? Or for that matter, would you, let's say you want to sell dhoop and agarbatti, would you go to a nightclub to do that? No, you will not, because this is absolutely bizarre. That is why it is important who you are targeting should be very clear, and what value you are proposing. So first, what is the value I'm proposing and to whom I'm proposing it to, right? I'm a very nice chap, right? And I don't have too much of money. Should I be going to a person who wants a person with lot of money, or should I go to a person who is looking for somebody who with a believe in value system and all? So we need to figure out what are my target areas, right? What are my target customers? So as a person, let's say I have created a value, I've created a product, I've created a service, I have a value proposal, right? I want to seek my life partner, right? And there are multiple options, right? I also need to focus on what I'm looking into that, or whatever I have, who is the person looking for that? As they say, no, all the time, you should always go for a person who loves you rather than you want to go for somebody who you love, because the latter would have bigger problem. The former would have much better life for you, right? Because it's the other person who loves you more, right? In marketing sense, it's the customer. When you go to a customer who's looking for that product, the sale is much faster, the sale is much easier. You don't have to spend a lot of money on the marketing. How many of you uh, downloaded WhatsApp uh, in your phones because you saw a marketing campaign, or for that matter Instagrams, right? I believe all of you would have Instagram and some more apps also, right? How many you did that based on advertisement? No, it was not advertisement. Rather, these companies never actually made a lot of advertisement. They were able to go to the customer because they were catering to a specific need, a specific target group, right? And that's a winning formula for business. So always find who a customer who values what you have. First, create a value proposition. Now, what I am offering, what is that people need, right? I offer, go to market, let's say, can you go to let's say you want to create a get into a relationship. Can you go to somebody and say, मैं एक नंबर का so I'm somebody who does not value relationship. I have a lot of money, but I would not bother about. I treat people like shit, and whenever I want to treat you happily, I would do that. Whenever I no don't want to do that, I won't do that. I won't give you any money, any security, any affection. I would not even talk nicely to you. Will you find buyers for that? There might be some idiot case who will be falling for that, but you will not. So similarly, when you create a product, it's not that, oh, I have created wonderful product, people would buy it. No, it never happens. And this is one of the biggest pitfalls most of the new startup founders go in for. They fall in love with their own product. That's why you must have heard people talking about pivotability, right? That if the market wants some tweak in your product, please see what the market wants. You cannot force down. I give you an example. There was a car company, I believe you must have heard of, Daewoo Motors, and all I'm sure most of you were not even born at that time, right? That company came into India and they started selling one of very good products of theirs. The model was CLO. It failed miserably. It was the best car in India at that point of time. It was the only car with a computer multi-fuel injector, but it did not work in India because nobody could service that vehicle. The spare parts were damn expensive. People could not understand. People at that point of time, the Indian market was not ready for such product, and they failed despite having the best product in the reasonable amount price. Also, the pricing was also superb. It was somewhere now around Maruti esteem only, but the product was 10 times better than Maruti esteem. It still failed. It could not capture on the market because the product was too early for the market. So it's always the market which dictates, as you must have heard, it's a market which dictates success or failure of a company. Yes, it's true. because they are the one who's giving you money for your service and uh, your product, right? Always. And that's why it is important for every one of you, even if you are working for a company, try and figure out what their customer is, what is their customer segment, what are they offering. Once you understand, you would actually do very well in your jobs also, right? People who understand and think from a company's point of view, and then alternatively customers point of view, do very well in their jobs. They have more promotions. Why? Because they understood the customer, which company wants to understand, and you would be able to offer them much better, uh, let's say, product, if you are understanding them, right? I hope I've made my clear. So this is the second segment. So value proposition, then you have to find out what customer that value you are offering to. And then third option, third problems come is, how would you approach, what is your channel, right? So in earlier times, it was your product and service has to go to the customer, right? The channels were absolutely limited. It was only physical market. You would go to a retailer shop. You need to have, so your product needs to go to the retailer shop to reach to the customer. So to do that, you need to go to a distributor, or let's say a national level distributor or CNF agent. Then you need to go to a distributor. Then you have to go to retailer, and then the customer needs to come to that shop. So there is the infrastructure required there. So all three places, different kind of infrastructure required. So you need to communicate also to your customer. That's also a channel, right? But these days, all of us, we are very comfortable buying things from online, right? So our mobile, our websites, these are also channels. Now we do direct to the customer sale by making sales directly at the customer end, right? Bypassing all these retailers, distributor, and all that. So yes, in this also you need hub and spoke model. So you need to create these hubs where the product is being delivered. But for that hub to operate, because the customer is not coming to that place, it need not to have to go be there near the customer. It can be outside the city limits. It can be in a place where the rentals are very low. It can have a huge space, and from there, let's say we all know this model now, right? You guys are all 10 times more comfortable than your parents generation in buying from internet, right? And you understand there are some these warehouses. From those warehouses, the things would comes to do directly. Cloud kitchen for that matter, right? You order food online. Now the cloud kitchen is what, you back end restaurant, the front end is gone, so the most of the expenses of the product is gone. All you need to understand is how I can reach my customer. So this is very important, right? What is the mode of communication, what is the mode where, how would you reach, and what is the cost of that channel? Why you need to understand channel? Five things, right? Five things. One, first, obviously, what is the fastest best way to reach the customer? That means time. What is the most value adding or less value deducting mode of channel to reach customer? So that is value delivery. So that means whether it reduces the delivery time, value of that product. So time, value. Then you have to have cost. What is the most cost effective way of reaching my customer? Fourth is branding, right? Am I creating through channel, is I do I have more ways of influencing my customer, creating a long lasting impression in my customer's mind, right? And fifth is uh, sustainability. Is this channel sustainable for a long time? Can I put my business model on this channel, or I have to think of multiple other backup channels also to reach my customer? So these are five aspects you need to be understanding to in order to understand the channel, right? In personal communication, let's come to, right? Initially, if you remember your parents' time or their parents' time, कबूतर लेके जाते थे, right? कबूतर right? So that was what? That was a channel where you are sending your value proposition to the person you wanted to, right? Whether it's a war, there is a war happening, or let's say there's a love happening. So you need to have this channel. Then it changes to the telephones, and then it changes to now WhatsApp messages, Snapchats, and whatnot, right? So channel is important anywhere, right? You've seen most of the relationship, if you don't talk to your friends for long term, right? They start feeling or behaving differently, because communication and channel of communication is also important. You can just send a text message to a person, to a very good friend of you, every day keep sending a message. Would you think the relationship would remain the same? No. To friends, right? To remain friends, you need physical interactions. You need to go and meet them. You need to go out and have lunch, dinner, and things together. You need to play sports together. You need to do activities together, right? Those are human interactions you need to have, right? For any relationship to last long, right? So you need to also focus on the channel with which you would communicate and you would reach your customer, both in terms of telling them about your product or telling them about your value proposition, also in delivering that value proposition. So this was the third. So first we found out कि हमने अपनी value proposition क्या बनाई. Second, we discussed that which customer is the right customer for me. Third is what is the best way to reach that customer. Fourth is the customer relationship. Now, when you talk about customer relationship, it is how do I get more customers? How do I keep them? And how I grow them in terms of numbers, in terms of relationships, right? So let's say I have a phone. I'm building a phone. I sell this phone to my customers. First is I created a very good phone in the to begin with, and I found the right channels, everything. So value proposition was good. I found my right customers, and I approached them on a right channel. Now, once we have solved these three pieces, the fourth piece is what are the relationship requirements. मैंने बहुत अच्छा फोन था, बेच दिया कस्टमर को. द कस्टमर इज वेरी हैप्पी विद द फोन, बट देन देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम. द प्रॉब्लम इज माय सेल्स स्टाफ is, or the people who were at the customer desk are not very friendly, right? They say, okay, ले जाओ, ले जाओ, ले जाओ. Now when you do that, you are ensuring that your customer would not come back to you, right? As and when he finds some more suitable product or any product which he can substitute your product with, he would go to that, or she would go to that. So that means it is important you figure out the different aspect which that product needs. Like there are some products, it's like buy and forgot. So you have sold the product, and like for that matter, shaving razors are there, or soaps are there, right? There is or a shampoo is there. Now there are companies who would sell you a good marketing campaign. They have a good channel. They have created a good advertisement. They reach to you, right? Or let's say I take a startup example. You want to start homemade achar, right? You have found out that aam ka achar is your best way. Your dadi used to make it, and you now create a very good recipe. Then you figure out that what are the customers who are looking to eat this kind of achar, who have grown up on this kind of taste. Then you have figured out that okay, these are different stores I would sell my product to, right? So you have got hold of a distributor channel, and then you are sending, and then there is another channel. So you have found out that on Amazon also I would sell my product. Now you are on Amazon, and you have gone to the physical distribution channel to, let's say, some stores for the for so you can take an easy day or whatever, right? You take an example. You have some shelf space there. Now this product, all it needs to have is a very good taste and good quality. That's it. Rest everything is less important. How you reach is important. Then once you have delivered the product, you don't have customer interaction. How many times you have seen somebody complaining about this aam ka achar was not that good last time, it had more dhania seeds, now it does not have that much, so I don't want to buy this, or you take it back, I would not like to shop with you or whatever. It does not happen. the value of that product is less. So when you are thinking is, yes, I can just focus on my quality. If I focus on my quality, my relationship with my customer would be good. That means I don't have to bother about really working on design part of it again and again. The first basic design, if I've gone to my customer and my customer likes my product, right, as a startup, I would be able to generate double the revenue if he or she recommend my product to another person, and there is a resale to it, right? Once somebody buys a pickle, it is typically a cycle of at least 5-6 months before you again buy a pickle, right? So that means you have this kind of a gestation period. But again, this is your window of opportunity also. That means the my product would stay with in that home with that person for 1 month, 2 month period, right? So I have multiple opportunities to impress the customer with. Now, how would I do that? By quality, by taste, by uh, my product, the core value, intrinsic value I'm giving in my product, right? uh, it should not be unhealthy, it should be blah blah blah. So all those things are intrinsic to my product. If I take care of this, it is good enough. Now come to the other part of it. Let's say I want to start a service business, and I've figured out that I would be making websites, or let's say I would be giving fashion apparels, or I want to create a fashion design and fashion store for, or let's say artificial jewelry store for girls, right? And I want to go into that business. Now, once you do that, apart from your design and your quality, it is more important how your brand is. How is your product perceived by the people who are buying that, right? Am I able to keep my value proposition high? That means what kind of interaction? So if you see that most of these very high-end stores, they treat their customers like king and queens, right? They do a lot of lot of things, and they charge very high because for their customer, treatment to them is very important. So if you don't have the right kind of people treating them nicely, they will never come back to you, right? So customer service there becomes the most important relationship factor. So that means my cost would be higher on hiring the right kind of people. So मेरा जो asset है, the person who is there representing my product there needs to be very good with my customer. He or she needs to be trained well, right? So my expenses would be more on focused on my customer interaction, my customer. Similarly, in IT products, let's say you are creating an app, my user experience. People who are familiar have heard of this term called user interface and user experience. Now, user interface can be very good, very beautiful, very pleasing to eye, but user experience can be definitely different from user interface. So your interface looks very fine, very flashy, very good. But when I, as a customer, wants to go from one screen to another screen, want to push one button to the next button, or I want to do an order, and if I cannot do in 3 simple steps, I would not come back to your app again and again unless until I have no option left, right? So in that, my user experience, the key to there is my user experience, how he conducts his business. Why Facebook, why WhatsApp became successful? When WhatsApp was there, there are other products who also came. Nobody could succeed. Airtel tried, everybody tried, nobody. And at that time, everybody was fighting for the same space. And there were products which were there before WhatsApp also. But WhatsApp succeeded like anything. Why? Because it sure that experience of a user is simple. The user want these simple things, has to be done very fast on a press of a button, has to be delivered, right? So those things, if you just keep those things in mind, your relationship would go much longer. So the activities you need to do to create a relationship needs to be there in your mind before you start your business. This is all we are doing before we start business, right? This is a part of planning. And once you have these four things figured out, you would be able to find your revenue streams. So that means हमने वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन बनाया, हमने कस्टमर सेगमेंट फाइंड आउट कर लिया, उसकी डेमोग्राफिक फाइंड आउट कर ली, हमने चैनल फाइंड आउट कर लिया कि हमें इस चैनल से रीच करना है, उसको एडवर्टाइजिंग के लिए ये चैनल यूज करेंगे, प्रोडक्ट डिलीवरी के लिए ये करेंगे, फीडबैक के लिए ये चैनल करेंगे, कस्टमर रिलेशनशिप के लिए हमें कौन सी एक्टिविटीज पे ध्यान देना है, उस एक्टिविटीज में बेस्ट स्टैंडर्ड्स क्या है, वो हम मीट कर रहे हैं नहीं कर रहे हैं. Once we have that sorted out, we would be able to make sure that we understand how to make money from different customer segments. Which segment would pay how much? What is the would they be paying monthly? Would they be paying? What is the decision period of first sale and the second sale? What is the repeat purchase cycle? All once you have sorted that out, you would be able to understand what is my pricing model. राइट अब मैं ये कैसे बेचूं, कितने में बेचूं, अब क्या बेचूं फाइनल किया, किसको बेचूं फाइनल किया, कैसे बेचूं फाइनल किया, क्या क्या करूं बेचने के लिए वो भी करा ना, कितने में बेचूं. राइट, व्हाट इज माय रेवेन्यू मॉडल, हाउ मच आई डू सेल इट फॉर. नाउ दिस इज वन थिंग. आप कस्टमर्स जब देखते हो, उसकी कॉस्ट बहुत कम हो सकती है और बहुत ज्यादा हो सकती है, बट आपका कस्टमर तय करेगा, आपकी मार्केट तय करेगी how much premium you can charge on that, how much margins you can charge, how much profit you can keep on that product. For example, a, a typical bottle of Coke uh, cost about some paisa, right? Some 50, 47, some 13 paisa it used to cost, right? I think it would not be more than that right now, also maybe 26 paisa at maximum. It sells for 20 rupees, right? That's the minimum bottle you have to buy. That cost of that liquid would be in 20 paisa maximum. Why you are keep a margin of it? Because yes, there are other costs to it. Even with plastic bottle, everything, it would cost them 1 rupee. But for you, it has to reach you. It needs to be cool. So all that thing adds up another. Then there are margins which are to be added. So despite the fact that the cost of the product is less, you are able to charge high because that price is still reasonable. Wherein you would find that some of the product, the cost is almost very high, but there are very less margins. You cannot have big margins on that, because if you add up margins, somebody else would, or some substitute would take place on that, right? So you need to figure that out here, that what is the market is willing to give it to me. So what is my revenue stream? From there you would get it. Now cost we would touch now. So this is as we decided. So these are 5 boxes we checked for my revenue external side, right? My customer, my value proposition side. Now it comes to the internal side. So we would be focusing on what are the key resources we need. So let's figure out. So when we talk about key resources means what? What are the most important assets or resources I need to have for my business model to work? As we understood in the previous example, if my channel is a retail distribution channel, I need to have a very good showroom, right? I need to create that brand. I need to make the customer feel that he's buying something rich, right? So my presence at the customer side becomes very important. My, let's say my this thing is very impulsive buying. My product is in impulsive buying. I am creating laddus, right? So that means who the person who would, so the recipe is important. I figure out the right recipe. Then the cooks who are making it are also important, right? So once I have sorted out recipe, I can change the cook. But if the cooks are not good, halwai is not bad, is not good, he would mess it up every second batch, right? So that means my person is important, right? So I need to make sure this person remains happy. I pay him enough so that he cannot go out of my line. So that means whether my product quality, in the first thing we forgot, we talked about achar, right? Let's say pickles. So in that, my bottling, my process of making sure that it does not soil is more important than rest of the interaction with the customer. So my product quality has to be good. My procurement of the raw material needs to be good in time. So that my supply chain has to be good. All those need to be figured out, right? Similarly, let's say for a fashion thing, I need to be very aware of the market trends. So my market research team is very important, right? So I need to have that continuous feedback loop with my market to understand what my customer is looking for, and I am aware of it in time, right? If you understand apparel business, it typically create products for the next year. If you go to any factory which is producing apparels, you would find they are not producing for this year trends. They are forecasting, they are hoping, and there is a science behind it, and they produce for next fall, next winter, right? This is almost 1 year cycle is there between the product being created in a factory and reaches the customer. Then what are the key resources do our value proposition require? Distribution channels, customer relationship, revenue streams, all that we have decided. So physical, intellectual, branding, all that. We need to figure out components, resources. मुझे बहुत ज्यादा पैसा चाहिए इसको बनाने के लिए, मुझे बहुत अच्छे इंटेलिजेंट लोग चाहिए. Let's say I want to create a very good software based on AI or an app, right? So that means my IT team has to be good, right? It cannot be shoddy IT team and make a very world-winning product. No, it never happens. If you again WhatsApp example, they have very small team of around 32 people. Each one of them became billionaire, millionaire for that matter. Half of them. Even the receptionist got 100 million plus money, right? So that is the value proposition. You can give back if you know what is most valuable. For them, the people they hired was the most valuable. The team was a very important, right? Sometimes market information is important, sometimes raw material is important, sometimes supply chain is important for that you are getting the product in time every time. And for let's say product which are very have a shelf life, you need to have they sure that you have enough time to reach the customer. So your supply uh, distribution channel becomes very important. So you need to focus on that more, right? So this is where you would find out key resources. कि मुझे अगर कोई रिलेशनशिप स्टार्ट करना है तो मुझे चाहिए क्या उसमें. मुझे इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू चाहिए, उसमें गाड़ी चाहिए, पैसा चाहिए, बंगला चाहिए, ऑल दैट, राइट? द टिपिकल थिंग्स वी टॉक अबाउट, right? These are very important things, and I need to know what I have to offer, right? And where do I need to put my money in, right? Do I need to buy expensive car, or I need to buy an expensive house, or I need to make sure that my business streams comes in, I need to invest in my business, so that I keep my money all the time. Or the customer or the person who I'm approaching with, he or she is more what you call attuned to have a good house, or a good bank balance, or let's say travel lifestyle, right? So we need to figure out what my customer wants, and accordingly we need to find out what resources I have and what I need to build upon. What are the key activities I need to do, right? What are the most important things I need to do, right, as a business owner, to make sure my business model works, right? So it is uh, again, different activities need to be sorted out. So this is, so if I'm developing an app, so that means I need to work out on the specification first. I need to do a focus group discussion. I need to have a development cycle done. I need to have my marketing thing done. I need to ensure that what are the social media channels I'm going to. I need to know what are my creatives, who would create my creatives, and all that. So all those things need to be sorted out. What are the various uh, alliances I can have, right? But, hello, am I audible?
Yes,
So
sir, you're audible.
Yes, sir.
okay, so again, so that is very important, right? Here in key activities, we would list out all activities and then figure out what are my key activities. So step A, list down all activities. Step B, in activities, that means if let's say distribution channel is very important, I need to find the right distributor partner, right? There might be 7, 8, 10 different distributors in the same area. Which distributor I need to engage in? What is his track record? What is his catchment area? What is he already doing? Does he have space to accommodate me? Am I the last priority for him? Would I be the middle priority for him? Would I be the top priority for him? If I'm the top priority, why I'm the top priority, being despite being a new customer for him, right? Figure those things out first, list down everything, and then list down the key activities. This is very important, and most of the people don't do it, and they find it very difficult when they have to face and have to create team. Like for that matter, in making an app, key resources, your resources, person, people who develop that app, your developers, your designers are very important, more important than anything else. Now hiring the right guys becomes even more important. So your HR channel, your HR person, your HR activities, your initial profile, job description, very important, right? You end up hiring bad people, ending up losing your money also and sleeps also, and your business model would not work, right? So you need to figure those basic things out. Like in personal examples, you need to figure out what the other person is doing. He's a activity oriented guy or he's a telephone guy, कि आपको 8 घंटे बात करते रहना है उससे, सुनते रहना कि हाँ हाँ, the person needs to have a listening ear, right? There are many people who are just हाँ हाँ, the other person is like bah, 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 bah. And that's nothing wrong in that. That's how people have different relationships going on, right? But you need to figure out what is the other person, what is your customer is looking for, where is that value. I'm a good listener, half the case is done, right? Or he's an activity oriented person, you need to do a lot of activities, you need to go to adventure activities, you need to go to disc pubs, whatever, right? So you need to figure out what is important for the person. Communication or less communication, more activity, more togetherness, right? You need to figure that out. Once you figure that out, it becomes much more easier for you to focus on where should I spend my time and money and energy on, right? So value proposition, customer finding, channel finding, customer relationship activities. Figuring out that, I have found out revenue streams. Then I have found out my key resources. I find out key activities I need to do, which is I need to do. Understand, this was not the business. It is the key activities which I need to create that value proposition and to deliver that. Right? Customer relationship activities were different. They were to remain, catch the customer, maintain the customer, keep the customer, and grow the customer base. So there are two different activities set, right? Don't confuse them. Then you have key partners, right? You all need, there was a movie, I don't remember. There was this guy who said, no, I won't take any help from anybody. No, it never happens. Man is a social, humans are social animals. We would need help from people. We, even in business, we need help from different people. You only you are tall because you are standing on the shoulders of giants, right? There are people who have already created all the system for you to make. Somebody made Android, and that's why you are able to make a app, winning app. Somebody made C plus, that's why they were able to make Android, right? So on and so forth. So similarly, you need to, for any business to prosper, you need to have very key partners. You need to figure out what are the right partners I need to have. What are my partners in crime, right? So as a business model, figure out, can somebody come and share that burden for you, share that market intelligence already with you. Let's say there is a player who has an inventory of you want to start a e-commerce company, and there's a company, there's a person, or there's an organization which has a distribution network all across India. All across India they have people presence. Would it be good for you to strike a deal with them? Yes, because if that is delivery is your pain area, and if somebody has presence all across India to deliver your product, nothing better than that. Similarly, most of the people who create these small product, they typically go for what? Goes for these e-commerce websites to sell their products, because they it's basically what? Partnership. So your key partner, Amazon become your key partner, right? Similarly, in IT sphere, there are let's say AW service, Amazon Web Services. There are different other companies who can become your partner. Let's say you have tied up with the ad agency or a creative agency, or for that matter, a channel or influencer, right? Let's say you are a girl who got into a business of uh, what you call cosmetics, right? Natural cosmetics. So you what would it be better for you to have a strike a deal with let's say what's his name, Carrie Minati, or somebody who is more feminine, talks about all those things with their what kind of clientele she has or he has, right? So you need to focus on what are my key partners. And there are people, there are companies, there are players who are there who you can go. आपने let's say आपके cosmetics के लिए आपको raw material चाहिए, and there is a player who has a lot of raw material. He is also finding customer, right? So you can go and say, hey, can you give me on credit? I can pay you back in 1 month. So you have 1 month credit cycle with that person. If you go in the market, you would find lot many of these deals happening, right? There are new companies who would come to a counter. Let's say I have a shop. I'm a chemist, and there's a company who has come with these new vitamin supplements. Would they come and they say, okay, please buy my product? Would I buy? No, I would not. I would not buy a new product. What they would do, they say, okay, keep it up on your counter. If it sells, we will take our cut, or we will give you commission. If it does not sell for let's say 2 months or 3 months, we will take it back. You don't have to pay any inventory. Now what you're buying there, because that let's say you have deal with the um, 24 or whatever, any pharmaceutical, Apollo pharmacy for that matter, right? They have so many shops. Even if you put 2 bottles in every shop, and the customer comes and you have your tablet or your supplement on the counter, you have much higher chances of selling, right? Your inventory you need to keep it for yourself, but at least that person is giving you free advertisement, zero advertisement cost, right? This is what you need to figure out. What are the right partners, right? Typically when you want to approach a person who is your love interest, what do? You first, आपका दोस्त जो सबसे ज्यादा करीब होता है, सबसे पहले आप उसे सलाह लेते हो, right? He or she may give you a bad or good suggestion, right? Then you try and figure out your opposite gender friend, to figure out, am I going to doing the right things? Then you figure out his or her closest friend, right? So those are your partners in crime. These are your key partners. You need to figure them out before you start your game, right? What it does is it makes sure that it optimizes your economy. Your uncertainty risk is reduced, because if you are selling into let's say 500 counters across Delhi, the chances are you would be selling at least 10 bottles a day, right? Otherwise, if you had no if you are selling from 5 counters, there is no guarantee that you may sell every day or not, right? So sometimes this run rate becomes very important. So when you have a key partners, it reduces your risk, right? Acquisition resources and activities also becomes much easier. As I told you, that if let's say there is a creative advertisement agency who can help you build those uh, uh, creatives, right? So these are all 8 sections we have covered. We come to the last and final one, the cost structure, right? So this is nothing but, once you understand that this is my whole business model, what would be my costs, right? By this time there would be already some numbers which would be there. मुझे इतना प्रोड्यूस करना है, मुझे पहले क्या था, हमें ये प्रोड्यूस या ये सर्विस बनाना, ये मेरा वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन है, इसको देना है, कैसे देना है, उसको पहुंचाना कैसे है, उसके लिए क्या क्या करना है, वो कितने में बेचना है, देन वी हैव फिगर आउट हम कितना, हमारे पास रिसोर्सेज यानी हम कितना बेच सकते हैं, राइट? उसके बाद क्या एक्टिविटीज, हम क्या क्या एक्टिविटीज कर सकते हैं बेस्ड ऑन रिसोर्सेज, व्हाट ऑल वी कैन डू, हाउ मच वी कैन प्रोड्यूस, हाउ मच वी कैन, वेयर ऑल वी कैन रीच, Third is, and last, we decided what are my active partners, my key partners. We figured out what our partners are. Now we understand overall the business, and we need to figure out now the cost. So this is the cost structure we would figure out. Once we found out the all these eight boxes, it becomes much easier and pertinent to arrive at this box, which is a cost structure. Once you create this whole model, you figure out what are the different costs, hidden costs, variable costs, risk cost, cost of money, cost of time, right? There are business models. If you get money now and you are able to sell it now, it makes much more sense than waiting for 1 year or 6 months or 3 days even, and try and make that thing. Because if you keep churning, rotating your money, it becomes a viable business. If the money stops rotating, the whole thing becomes unviable, right? And that is very important. In this box, we would figure out what it would in totality cost you, right? So your salaries, your rents, your variables, because you need to figure out whether I can. Let's say I have decided to open my office at X place, which was very cost effective for me. So I'm getting this office space for, let's say, 50,000 rupees a month. And then there is another office space which which I have to spend 80,000 rupees a month. So there's a difference between 30,000 rupees in both of them. Which one I should pick? In the more normal case scenario, I would pick 50,000 rupees. But is my this office, which is just 30,000 cheaper than the other one, situated in a place where no employee can come easily? They have to, either they have their own vehicle to come, or they have to really change 2 buses, 3 metros to reach my place. How many employees you think would be stable at such a place? Would I get good employees at that place? I can, like any big company for that matter, can open their showrooms in Timbuktu also, right? They can go to Mewat and open their office, IT office. Mewat, you would find 10,000 square feet space, much cheaper rate. But would IT developers from Delhi, Gurgaon, Faridabad travel to that place for every day for going to their office? The answer is no, right? So you need to figure out the final cost. The cost right now looks very cheap, right? Or cheaper than the other alternative. But overall, it would cost you 10 times more, because then you have to spend getting people to that place. Then you have to spend making sure that people stick to your place. You have to offer higher salaries than what you have offered if you would have been present at Delhi or Gurgaon or Faridabad or Noida for that matter, right? So all these factors need to be counted, and this is where you would complete the structure. Now this is done, and now we have gone through those 9 boxes of business model canvas. And when you have this thing on a board in front of you, believe you me, the understanding your business and making everybody else understand becomes much easier, right? But this is primarily for yourself, your own partners who would be there in your business, right? This is for internal consumption first, right? This is not to be shown to the uh, investor or whatever. The crux which you would get out of it is for investor or approach you outside or customer, but this is for the businessman. This is for the internal audience only, right? So this becomes very, very, very important. Thank you very much, guys. As the movie says, they lived happily ever after. So hopefully you and your customers, you and your business ventures, once you go through this entire activity, you would be able to plan your business wisely. Before going, I give you one example which I cite many times. There was a bridge which was made in 90s in Delhi. There were two bridges to be built on Yamuna. One was ITO and one was in uh, the other one was name is Sarai Kale Khan, right? Both used to connect people across Yamuna. Tenders were given at the same time. One went to a Japanese firm because that was developed with help of funding from Japan, right? With a loan from Japan. This ITO bridge was being constructed by an Indian partner. I don't want to name that company, but this went to an Indian company. Now, the tender was given on the very same month, very same week, right? The Indian company which got the ITO bridge, they started working on the project right from the day one, right? There were a lot of activities in that area. A lot of they have sent their engineers. There were a lot of stuff which started coming to that site. Cement, your bajri, your iron, your the shanties for the labors. Everything started happening. There was a lot of buzz right from first month itself. Right from the day one, people started coming in, and within 1 month, it was looking like there is a lot of activities going on there, right? On the other hand, the Sarai Khan Lekha bridge, there was no activity for 3, 4, 5 months. 3 to 4 months, there was no activity on site. Zero. Nobody could see anything. Nobody could see any structure, which typically you find that they create these temporary structures. Nothing of that sort was happening, right? Yet the Sarai Khan Lekha bridge was delivered 6 months before the deadline. And those days it used to be 28 or 24 months, I believe. 24 months used to be the delivery time. It took around 18 to 19 months, including those 4 months which no activity was happening. Wherein the ITO bridge got 3 extension back by back, 2 of 1 year each and 1 year 6 month extension. So it took 2.5 years more than the stipulated time, despite starting the work on the day one. Why? Because of planning. The Japanese kept planning everything to the T. They started forging alliances with everybody. They put those clauses to ensure that everything would reach there in just in time, right? Nothing would be stopped. There is a contingency plan, there's a backup plan. Everything was planned perfectly. So nothing stopped the work when it started happening, and everything was done in sequence. Wherein this bridge, they started working. After 3 months, they figure out जो अर्थ मूवर वाला है उसके पास 5 नहीं है या 4 नहीं है, उसको डिलीवर करना है, उसका ड्राइवर भाग गया है, उसका ये हो गया है, बजरी वाले ने उसके पास वो नहीं है, उसका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खत्म हो रहा है, वो उस रेट पे सप्लाई नहीं करेगा, द कॉस्ट हैज टू बी हायर कॉस्ट हैज टू बी गिवन, the whole thing has to be given back to the main top management would take a decision whether to increase the price or not. So all whatever could happen had happened, right? So it is very important for all of us. When you plan well, you can deliver well, right? If you spend good amount of time in planning your business, there would be less amount of time you would need to do firefighting. Any one of you, if you travel abroad, you would find this thing in practice. Out there in those firms, they plan things, they dedicate their time in planning things. That's why their businesses run smoother. Now, whenever in India, we have this issue of every day kuch na kuch hota hai, because our governments also do not plan that much, right? So this becomes an important lesson for all of us. Even when you plan in your life, if you plan well, your life will go very smoothly. If you don't plan well, your life would you have to do much more hard work than your counterparts who planned, right? Thank you very much, and I'm open to questions. If any questions are there, uh, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Uh, Good evening, sir.
A very good evening.
Actually, sir, I want to ask, like, in today's scenario, there are a lot of opportunity. Like there are MSME, there are online business, there are freelancing stuff. So right now, I'm thinking about some idea, but there is like कि वो चलेगा या नहीं, or I also have issue that which field in which I will develop a business. So what's your opinion? Like there is COVID, so online business, or how to find that means idea and go and work on that means. So you are not audible.
Okay, am I audible now? So what you're talking about is pre-business model canvas, right? You don't even have a business right now, so it becomes that you yourself are the entity to be found out, right? So then you have to do a SWOT analysis, right? I don't know whether you heard of it. You need to figure out what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the opportunities you have with your present skills or enhanced skills, and what are the threats, what are the possible pitfalls of that. So you need to figure out whether you go for your own startup, what is the best side of it. Would you be happy, would you not be happy, would it be comfortable for you to sustain that business for that long. First you need to figure out yourself, then only you would be able to figure out rest of the things. First, get your strengths ready. What is my strength? Am I a good manager? Am I a good entrepreneur? Do I have a risk taking capacity? Do I have finances? Do my parents there to support me? Do they have enough money to support me? What if I fail in first venture? What would I do? Do I have a backup plan? What kind of pressures would there be on me? Do I have a girlfriend who's looking to marry me just after my education finishes off? So that means I need to get a job done. Would it be okay for her parents or his parents to accept that I'm, as a husband or a wife, would be doing my business or doing my job? So all those things you need to first certain out in terms of your strength, your weaknesses, your situation analysis. Then in terms of opportunity, then there can be many ideas you can work on. But again, for that, I believe you need to attend a lot of these ideathons, a lot of these hackathons which keep happening around. You need to be aware more. You need to subscribe to a basically a news app or news channel wherein you focus on your core areas. Let's say it can be technology, it can be entertainment, it can be anything which you want, but you need to have the latest information on that line, right? You need to have, let's say, business information on stock market or whatever, right? So you need to have market information. First update yourself with market information and have at least two skills. I don't know your skill sets, but you need to figure out what is your skill set, how that skill set would be good in terms of sustaining any business idea for that matter.
Excuse me,
Okay,
sir.
sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, may I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Sir, actually, my question is it necessary to give perks or something to the customers for a startup, and how it can be implemented for an IT startup or an IT company, like some free subscriptions or just like that?
Okay, this is again a two phase thing. It depends on the product, it depends on your customer cycle. Like you see, there are same people, there are some people who would buy, वो अपना घर बेच देंगे लेकिन एप्पल का फोन खरीदेंगे, right? But there are people who would not spend that kind of money on a phone device, right? So you need to figure out what your customer is. Would they be happy to get these freebies? Would you be able to sustain those freebies? ऐसा तो नहीं होगा कि तुमने आज डिस्काउंट पे दिया और तुम्हारा प्रोडक्ट लिया उन्होंने, उसके बाद चले गए. So your value proposition matters, right? Let's say you start a dosa joint, right? Would you be giving dosas for free? Possibly for a day or two, or let's say every 100 customer you do some freebie, right? Or you do some additional point. Let's say anybody who buys 4 dosas, you would get one plate of idli extra, right? These are marketing gimmicks, right? Depends on what market you are present, right? Let's say, have you ever seen any five-star restaurant offering any discounts ever? They will never. The only thing they would do is their membership cards. There, if you put a lot of money in their membership cards, yes. So that means you pay in advance. You have already made their sales, and then you go get some discounts on ABC or thing. So that's what depends on your customer, what you are catering to. So the answer can only be derived from the clientele and the product you have, but to in general, the answer is no. It is not important. It depends primarily on your anxiety levels, your business model, and your product and the customer segment you are catering to.
And sir, one last thing, if we give freebies to them, then how can we make them to come back to us? Is it any something idea or anything that we can do?
No, again, it would be a very specific question to answer without knowing the product and the customer both. But yes, it is very possible, absolutely possible for customers to keep coming back to you despite initially giving freebies. For that example, everybody stuck to Paytm, right? For quite a long. Now Paytm is not burning the kind of money they were earlier burning. All these credit apps are burning a lot of money right now, but once the market stabilizes, every player is settled down, people stick to because then by the time they have developed that habit of that particular, let's say I give you free dosa every day, you come to my shop and my shop is the only shop there in that college, right? And there is another chola bhatura shop, I want to convert you to a dosa eater, so I give you good discount, right? Every day, so 50% discount. So if I keep giving you 50% discount for 1 month or 2 months, people would start coming to my shop, and after they have developed a taste of for my dosas, I can then slowly reduce it or bring some alternate, bring some other product to my counter also. So yes, it is possible to convert people from freeloaders. There might be customers who would be very smart, who are like early adopters, who would not stick to one product. So it depends on ना, right? आपको क्या एक ऐसा ऐसा जीवन साथी मिल सकता है जो आपसे लॉयल रहे? आंसर है हाँ. Difficult है, but answer is still yes, right? There are people who are loyal to their Apple buyers are very loyal to their company and brand. One point of time, Sony buyers were very loyal to their brand. Even today, Samsung buyers are almost more or less loyal to their brand. But then the level of loyalty of Apple buyers versus the Samsung buyers is very different.
Thank you so much, sir.
So, is there any other question, or shall we? I believe we can close this off.
Sir, I want to ask one thing. Like, what is the best way to connect you with you?
Okay, I'm sorry, I did not listed my telephone number. So if somebody wants to connect with me, startup at jcboseust.ac.in is the email ID, and you can note down my number also if you have some query regarding your startup ideas and all. It's 82952 03756. Let me put it on the slideshow. Just hold. Can you see the screen?
No,
Can you
sir,
see the screen
currently.
now?
Yes, sir.
This is my number. Anybody wants to get connected, please feel free to say.
Sir, your screen is not visible to me. I don't know why.
Okay, I'm
And now it's visible.
I'm
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insights with us. It was indeed a very informative and motivational talk. Big thanks to all our participants for attending this interactive session with us. We hope you all have enjoyed it and learned something beneficial out of it. Now, I would like to request everyone to switch on their cameras so that we can capture this moment. Thank you everyone for joining this meeting.